It is the end of chapter 2. That's the end of linear equations. Obviously, we're going to stick with linear equations throughout the year, but it's the end of chapter 2, so we're going to do something a little bit different in terms of summative assessments. It's not going to be like your regular tests this time. We're going to make a concept map. I'm going to show you what I mean by that and how I want you to make it. So for this, you're going to take a list of words, which I'm going to provide for you, and then you're going to put them in a Google drawing and then connect them with a line and description. So like this, word A, word B, these two are connected because blank. So that's how you make a concept map, and I'm going to show you how to do it on Google Drawings here in a sec. The rules are you have to have at least 16 words on your concept map. And of those 16, 2 must be related words that come from your head and not from the list. Okay, so they have to be related to the other words, and you have to think of a separate one that comes in and connects. So at least 2 of them have to come from your head. And then each time you make a connection, obviously, you have to describe how and why those words are connected. And then at the end, when you're finished, you're going to submit to this assignment. There'll be a submit assignment button up here. And then, so the concept map Google Drawing is right here, and you just click that. It'll open, make a new copy for you, and it looks like this. So these are all the words on the list. They're on both sides. If you need to move them, that's fine. You just click it, and it's a text box, so it can move wherever. Or if they're like really in the way, you can delete them or whatever, as long as you have them somewhere. Or if you've already used it, you can delete it. So this is what it's going to look like, and you're going to use these guys to make a concept map. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So this is just a separate example here. Here's my list of words: trees, oxygen, humans, wood, and I'm just going to decide which one I want to use first. So let's go with trees. And how I put that on is go here to shape. Up here in the toolbox, go to shapes. And then I like the square one. Some people like to use, the oval and stuff. The square ones tend to fit the words a little bit better. So I'm just going to do that and say tree. And I'm going to make it smaller because you're going to have 16 on here, right? So you're going to need some space. So what can I connect tree to? Well, a tree is a plant. So let's go ahead and type that here. I'll say plant. And I'll resize it. Now, in order to connect it, we're going to have to draw a line. There's lines up here, but if you click down on this, you can scribble, and I think that's the best way to do it. Scribble will let you go anywhere you want with it, so I'm just going to connect this one to this one like that, and then I have to provide a description of why those two things are connected. So I'm going to click the text box and put a text box right here and just say a tree is a plant. And that's how you connect it. And if you want to, if that's too big, if things are getting cluttered and stuff, you can make that a little smaller, as long as it's readable, as long as it's legible and we can see it. And if it's not in the right spot, of course, you can drag the text box all around, make it as nice as you can. So you can see my concept map is going on its way, connecting all sorts of things. You're going to run into some problems, so you really should think about where things are going to go, because when you're trying to connect everything, it can get a little messy. So a few things to consider here. If I wanted to connect oxygen to humans, and also get this carbon dioxide to plants as well, I'm probably going to want to move this, and that's fine. You can just take your text box and move it, slide it on over. You can click any of these lines and then just hit delete and rewrite this line. This is probably going to be a better connecting line for me. Now I've got some space to connect oxygen to humans and carbon dioxide to plants. I'm going to want to drag this oxygen right up here. so that I can kind of get these connections in, right? I'm going to connect plants to oxygen and carbon dioxide. I'm going to connect humans to carbon dioxide and also humans to oxygen, and write some explanations there. Sometimes you're going to want to connect multiple things, and with kind of the same explanation here. So what I'm going to do is connect trees to paper, humans to paper, and I'm going to bring this these lines kind of together here at paper, so that when I put a text box over this, I'm just going to say humans use trees to make paper. And that kind of connects how trees, paper, and humans all interact right there. One other thing you have to do is come up with at least two that weren't on the list. Okay, so if I'm looking at this list, I'm like looking around and thinking, what kind of ideas or concepts can I add to this? Well, how about I can add different types of trees? So what if I thought, as I'm looking at trees and plants, I thought about deciduous and coniferous trees. I could do that. I'm just going to copy and paste this so I can move it over instead of having to grab another box, and I'll just change that to coniferous. So these guys weren't on the list, but I'm adding them as a nice little addition to show my understanding. I know these are types of trees. I could say types of trees. I could say trees that go dormant in the winter. That needs to be smaller. So, I could say something over here that trees that don't go dormant in the winter, or trees that produce cones, some way that shows, hey, I've got a better understanding of trees than just even from the list, some ideas that come off, or whatever you think of that is related and can show your understanding. Add at least two of those in there. So you can see these, these maps get kind of crazy. So organize it the best you can. You adjust the sizes of things so that they fit. Another thing to consider is you can go off of this. This white spot here is kind of the obvious. That's where you're looking at. That would be like if you were trying to print your concept map or anything. But since we're not printing it, we're just sharing it with each other. You can build off of this if you need more space. So you can make things a little smaller and then just zoom in. So consider that when you're working with it. And that's how you do it. Again, the shapes are up here, and you can write in the shapes. You use a text box for the explanations, and then right here you can use a little scribble to connect any of the concepts or ideas.